All right, well, welcome everyone to the next episode of my Manchester tech journey. So I'm Michael Collins. I'm Director of IO Associates in the Manchester office. One of the reasons I wanted to start this podcast was to really speak with some of the sort of brightest minds in the local Manchester tech community to understand their technical journey. But one of the things I'm massively obsessed with is the growth of Manchester and how it's become a tech powerhouse now. So thank you very much for joining us today, Reena.
Nice, thank you for having me.
But yeah, so I didn't know if you wanted to start us off by sort of introducing yourself and sort of what your current role is. I know you just got a new one, and where you work at.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Rina Lakhman. I currently work at the University of Manchester as the Director of Digital. Previously, I joined the University of Manchester about 4 months ago as the head of data platforms, and that transitioned more into the Director of Digital role.
Amazing. Well, congrats on a new role. So obviously University of Manchester, very well-known name, absolute sort of beast of a university within the UK, very well regarded. But in terms of like your actual role at the minute then, what does it entail, obviously with the new responsibilities and what you were sort of previously doing?
I'm so glad you said because let's face it, it's become a brainchild of the University of Manchester Victoria and UMIS together. So UMIS was one of the leading science and technology universities in the country, alongside Cambridge and Oxford. So my role at the moment is very much looking after the digital platforms across the university.
Yep.
That includes the data presence, because that was my specialism and still is. And hey, you can't take data out of me, words, right? And then adding on the usual systems like the finance, the ERP system, the HR system. Bear in mind, the university has between 12 and 14,000 employees at any one time in the university. And that basically means a massive payroll on a monthly basis. And then we also have the CRM system, adding on the teaching and learning platforms and various other periphery systems around building management, building systems. The great thing about university is it's cross-industry. So when you have 3 faculties across different industries, you have a lot of different software being deployed by academics across the university. So it's not just one system, it's a crazy mishmash of all different software systems.
So taking there's a lot of systems, obviously a lot of departments within the university. You know, everyone trying to sort of implement their own things. Is it hard to bring all of the technology together then?
Yeah, it is. It's practically impossible, to be fair. When you're looking at different faculties in different schools, they have their own bespoke systems and softwares. Medical school will have different software compared to a school of science and engineering.
Yeah.
And each one wants to be at the cutting edge of technology. So academics will seek out new platforms and new technologies to teach on, and also using some of the old traditional platforms such as MATLAB, which has been around for a very, very long time, and also gives you the grounding on mathematics, which then translates into things like Python and Databricks, and it just goes on.
And it's really interesting you mentioned about like the latest and greatest technology, because I don't know whether the perception is obviously when you're working within the higher education field, that it maybe isn't up to the latest and greatest as much as when you look at like within fintech or the commercial space. But then it's probably the opposite, because you're at that forefront of trying to educate people within it and understand what you can use.
It's that dichotomy of grounding, to be fair, because when you're talking fintech or even legal tech, we're talking about the original core languages that we made us to do the base IT. So in fintech, because I'm also a qualified accountant, so you can just imagine me gravitating to fintech, right? So when you're looking at fintech and you're looking at financial management, for example, you're trying to use the mathematics and economics and program that into an IT system, which will automatically do that at do those economics calculations for you. So you can understand where the mathematics, the economics, and the programming come as the grounding in the education perspective.
Yeah.
But then the fintech technologies is very much volumetric after that. It's high compute, high volumes of data, and how you wrangle those IT systems into an infrastructure that's operational.
Yeah.
That gives you the answers at your fingertips.
Yeah. No, it's really interesting. Obviously, you've come from a telecoms background into the University of Manchester. Now, what would you say the core differences are between those industries?
I think pace of change, to be fair. Telecoms is rapidly changing, and it's the kind of industry telecoms is in, really, because to be competitive in the marketplace, telecoms really has to change. I came from an organization which had to merge a new company in every quarter for it to kind of meet its strategy as a telecoms presence in the industry. That adds to the technology base in any organization. It's just imagine you have your IT in your own company, then you buy another company with its own IT, and you're trying to meld them together, and you multiply that by 4 in a year, and you're kind of going, wow.
Yeah, and the amount of integrations you'd have,
Yeah.
the different and the melting pot of different technologies,
Yeah.
would be. I suppose imagine it'd be unmanageable. I've worked with some companies that had some sort of acquisition or been involved in it. It's taken them a year to integrate the technologies, maybe even more.
Yeah, and that journey has to now become a lot more rapid.
Yeah.
Because where historically companies were able to compare themselves year to year, you are now looking at a company that's having to change to its market quarter by quarter. But how do you make those synchronicities in an organization? How do you make that data combine itself to give you that intelligence, that insight, the analytics that you need to get that advantage in the market? It's a complete shift in the way you look at your data and your data analytics. So dare I say it, I probably upset a lot of accountants by saying real-time financial reporting out of your IT systems. So then your accountant no longer becomes your ledger manager and your bookkeeper. They become your change agents, because now your business can change quarter to quarter. So how about your change agents, your accountants that are actually helping you reshape your IT systems or reshape your operations to meet that change? So it's a whole different world.
No, it's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Then taking it back then, obviously the podcast is about the journey into tech. So I was just really keen to understand sort of your intro into technology.
Oh, wow. Started about 25 years ago. I think it was a brainchild out of the University of Manchester, and it's very strange to be
Yeah, no, it's full circle, man.
they're coming back around again. So my degree, undergraduate degree, was in accountancy and business information systems. And that by title is probably very mediocre. Probably you go, yeah, okay, I understand that. Really what it was I was running to accountancy exams of financial management, management accounting, to software engineering exams in the same university. So yeah, operating systems, software engineering, C++, SQL.
Is that the first language you coded in C++?
I think it was, yeah. There was a little bit of Pascal and COBOL back then.
Yeah.
So I'm my age now. But definitely it was like C++, very much ground. That was the latest and greatest at that time.
And it's still, if you've had a grounded in C++, and it's quite good for open up other object-oriented programming languages, so I'm told. Whereas if you go all in on one particular one, but C++ needs to be good, that you can, if you understand that, you can get the premises for a lot of other languages.
Yeah, definitely. So coming out of university, bear in mind I had business management classes over at UMIST and marketing classes over at Manchester Business School. So it was an absolute mix. And in the middle of that, there was also program development, program delivery, business analysis, all of that, all in one huge degree. Coming out of education at that time, turn of the century, millennium bug happening, I went to an accounting firm and said, would you hire me? They went, no, we want a pure accountant. Went to an IT firm, would you hire me? No, we want a pure programmer. This hybrid kind of identity was not really related to way back then. So I ended up in a debt management company, to be fair.
Okay.
As an internal auditor. And the only reason why I was hired was because I knew programming. I could audit the IT systems.
Yeah.
So I was auditing various different things, the IT systems, operational activity,
Okay.
accounting. And it was part of the finance program that they had for graduates, where you went to classes on the weekends and worked, 9 till 6 during the week.
Yeah.
That was culture back then, yeah. So journeying forward, after having children, I couldn't travel into Manchester because the trains were so unreliable.
Yeah.
So I ended up at University of Bolton doing research and enterprise for 11 years.
Oh, wow.
And that took me everywhere. But that took me into student associate schemes with teacher training. I was doing carbon management strategies for the university, entrepreneurship for students.
Oh, wow.
There were so many projects that I couldn't even remember half of them. There's a whole multitude of projects, and they were all cross-disciplined. They were cross-faculties that brought the projects together. So when the university won a grant from Europe, it was a case of go make it happen, and
Oh, amazing.
pretty much what I did.
And then has that, so the different projects you're working on, having to get involved with different people, speak to what is it? Speak to loads of different people across the business, like different stakeholders.
Yes.
Do you feel that sort of lent into, to shape you into the sort of the tech leader you are today?
Oh yeah, because the grounding of tech, let's face it, it's basically the instigator of change.
Yeah.
So doing all these various different programs, it gave me a grounding in transformation to be able to projects and program lead transformations through an organization. We were doing crazy things like evaporative cooling on data centers.
Okay.
In 2008, 2009, before data centers was a huge thing. And we were trying to save financial costs on air conditioning into data centers and stuff. So you can just imagine we were trying to change people
Yeah.
in culture to come along with the journey of the technology changes as well. And now when we're implementing rapid technology changes, it's really helpful to understand different cultures
Yeah.
and instigate that change.
And do you remember when you first went into like your first leadership role and how the transition from being, say, an individual contributor or a part of a team to actually now people looking at you to do? Did it come natural to you, or?
I think it did.
Yeah.
But it was a very strange journey, to be fair. So I learned a lot from the various leaders I was working with in higher education. Bear in mind, I worked with Haifa Takruri-Rist, which she's an absolute pioneer at the University of Salford. She's a professor of telecoms. She grew up in Palestine, came to England and became a professor.
Oh, is it?
I was totally impressed with
Yeah.
her. But I was helping her create the first power and telecoms master's degree out in Palestine.
Yeah.
And when you're working with ministries and very prominent people across various businesses in a difficult situation, they teach you a lot. So they teach you that resilience and how to understand people in a leadership role. So I got my first leadership role in a law firm.
Okay.
Working in data. And it was a case of I hired one legal secretary and taught her how to do project management, program and product ownership in data. So totally different disciplines for her, and we had so much fun. Absolutely incredible fun, answering tenders, doing data work, we're doing data engineering, data crunching, even the business analysis.
Okay.
Hilarious moments in trying to train lawyers in why data was so important. And they were great. The lawyers were incredible in the organization because they were willing to embrace some of the changes we were implementing.
What was it? So is there any like standout challenges that you can think of throughout the career, particularly sort of when you've transitioned more into that sort of leadership role?
I think there were more horizontal challenges.
Yeah.
So, good question.
Thank you.
A good question. How much do I reveal? Okay. So
Nothing that'll get you in trouble.
No. So there's a good side to leadership, and there's a downside to the leadership journey. And I learned from people who did it badly,
Yeah.
and I applied a methodology on how it should be done better. So the bad experiences informed how I became a leader. So I believed in listening, engaging with individuals, tuning into their gifts, and then tuning into their skills, and then encouraging them forward.
Yeah.
So it was all about taking them on a journey in terms of where their skills should be going, and painting that picture of where we are going as a collective. So standout challenges would probably be around individuals who didn't get it.
Yeah.
The team who usually worked with me and for me got it.
And it's not always you can't have everyone come with you. Some people have got different desires and stuff like that. But I think it's more of like, as a leader, being able to identify that and go, do you know what, you're not on the boat, or you're not well this journey, but you might be part of another journey. It's not a I don't personally see it as a negative.
Exactly.
If it's just different people. That's what makes us all so unique. Because when you do find people who are with you, then it makes it all more powerful.
It does, but then those who are not with you, you kind of give them the option of, do you want to come along on this journey? Even if it's not your direction, give it a go. And a lot of people kind of change direction when I'm enjoying myself.
Yeah.
And there are some who will say, well, I actually want to go off and do an architectural role, or I want to do something completely different. And I'm absolutely all for it. Go, spread your wings, enjoy yourself. Life's too short. We have to enjoy ourselves to be there. You are really pressing when I'm trying to dig for a chance. It's not like I'm, the BCs and the best in the world.
But I think what you said around, like, you've learned from other people not doing it well, I think that's a massive thing about from a leadership perspective, is also from your own sort of thing, what works and what doesn't work. Yeah. And then being able, that's why they're people in a leadership position traditionally have got more experience, because you can learn from those past experiences. Yeah. But also, it's like, what it sounds like you've got is like real courage in your convictions. I think where I look back and where I failed is where I've been a bit like, well, I'm not sure, I try and keep this person happy. If you've got this, I know this is the path. Obviously, you can listen to feedback and that, but you've got real courage in your conviction. I think that's what makes someone like yourself really valuable to a business and organization.
Yeah, I love how you identified courage and conviction. That did not come naturally.
Really?
Yeah, that came from a tough journey of bullies.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and not just one, multiple.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of people who felt threatened and challenged when they faced me in my career.
And that's probably because they didn't have courage in their convictions.
I don't think they were wired like me, and I'm a bit of an oddball in that sense. Bear in mind, I'm trying to meld together an accountancy profession with a techie profession and go, hey, presto, this is the best. The next generation is CDO, here it come. You've got to understand how IT works with a business, and our business should inform how IT should be configured for that organization. And that's a relationship I learned very early on from the University of Manchester. But for me, it was like, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And for other people, it was a huge learning curve and a huge journey that they didn't have the appetite to go through. They'd had a career to themselves. But I think having experienced, those bullies, having gone through the difficulties of being in the thick of it, and then learning my own resilience has kind of got that courage and conviction. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, there are people who probably go, oh my God, I'm very comfortable now with shaking the tree and changing the norm.
Yeah.
Because I see things differently, and I think there's a little element of an ADHD brain in there somewhere that just, has to focus on multiple things at once, and hence why juggling multiple plates is probably my thing. And, and every time you contact me, you go, how's it going, Reena? And I go, it's chaos. Yeah, totally fine in chaos.
And to be fair, that's when you say that, it makes me feel more comfortable in the chaos that I'm in.
Yeah.
But I think if you ask most owners, leaders, whoever, what would you rather? Would you rather someone come in and shake the tree and make us better, or someone to come in and plod along and conform and make us worse? they'd obviously, I know it's a bit of a leading question.
I don't know any different.
Yeah,
But
and that's what's got you to where.
well,
where
yeah.
you are.
I mean, joining Talk was an amazing journey. To be fair, and I love the organisation. Its principles in the way it looks after people.
Yeah.
Is amazing. Hand on heart, really felt loved there. But when I went into Talk, I went into the finance department with a technical background. And had an amazing group of data engineers around me who were equally as inquisitive as I was.
Yeah, nice.
So they joined the journey. So we went immediately into Agile. So in 7 weeks, we were going Agile, and it's like scrumming it and delivering at a rapid pace. And the difference was it was things like two to three outputs per 2 week sprint to about 36 outputs with the same resource. And you kind of went, oh, we can do something here.
Yeah.
So the idea that we had was it was very much revenue and margin assurance. We were trying to basically save money, save costs on the bottom line, detect leakage, find operational failures, and fix them. And it did translate into something like 13, 14 million a year. So whereas prior to me joining and creating this whole data engineering pro-X and shaking the tree, as I keep saying, before that it was 2 to 3 to 5 million a year.
Yeah.
And then it kind of ramped up to the, the double figures. And we kind of went, oh my God, we can do so much more. So Talk were fantastic because they were the first employer that actually invested back into me and got me an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
So I did the level 7 apprenticeship at MMU. I graduated last week, by the way. Graduated, yeah, it's huge. And that kind of took me into the journey of AI and machine learning.
Yeah.
So I was looking at AI and machine learning and examining not just, the fundamentals of AI and machine learning is probability and statistics.
Yeah.
It's looking for a pattern.
Because I've heard this AI is the future. I'm not sure if.
Yeah, it is and it isn't.
Yeah.
So it is in the sense of if it's a repeatable pattern,
Yeah.
then let's go with it. So I was irritating the guys from Netflix and saying, right, so if I have a habit of watching horror movies, your algorithm's going to give me a diet of horror movies.
Yeah.
Because it just repeats that same pattern.
I had that with like crime documentaries, and I had to stop because it always recommend me stuff like crime, and I was like, I need to.
Yeah, the algorithm didn't know how to recommend. You need to look after yourself.
Otherwise, I could become.
You're away from all of this, right? So yeah, it's that repeatable pattern. So it's detecting a pattern and repeating it. Whereas I was looking for the anti-patterns. I was looking for where things were outliers and anomalies and breaking the pattern, because that's where I found operational failure.
Yeah.
So I was looking for the opposite to a repeatable pattern, because that kind of created the human creativeness and the uniqueness of where we're at.
Yeah.
And most organizations, when you look at technology, you've got layer upon layer upon layer, all caked in over years and years of new people coming in going, we should do it this way.
Yeah.
And new people coming in, we should do it this way. I was unpicking those layers, trying to find a unique pattern where it failed and it didn't work. So we found a lot of advantage using data engineering techniques, but we was just kissing on that, how to deploy AI, those graph neural networks to find those anti-patterns. Well, basically find the patterns and what doesn't fall into those patterns to find those anti-patterns.
Yeah. So they're super interesting.
It's the opposite.
Yeah.
Hence why ADHD brains just a different way. Yeah,
And then would you have any advice for someone looking to get to a similar position as yourself? So I see this all the time. You get people come up to me and go, I'm a software engineer, how do I get to a CTO? Or I'm a data engineer, I want to get to a CDO or digital director, or like, what would your advice be for us?
that's all. It's not linear. It's definitely not linear. Yeah. And I think I can only speak for myself in the female brain, to be honest, and say, looking at my history, I've gone from random things like helping students start their own enterprises and doing business advisory across Greater Manchester, thinking, oh, I need to be qualified as an accountant here because I'm advising them how to do the bookkeeping. So I kind of grinded at two disciplines at the same time. to try and get to where I wanted to be, because I didn't want to be a techie and not be able to do the tech. So I wanted to know how to do it. And to be fair, I mean, that's my peace point. Going, if you're doing a bit of Python, it's just it detoxes me. I don't know. But in terms of the journey to CTO, there are a lot of layers. There's the leadership layer, there's the technical understanding, there's the business understanding in there. To get to that CTO level.
There's also different types of CTO, and I think people don't really understand that. And there's like a CTO for a startup, there's a CTO for a scale up, there's a CTO for it's not there's not just, okay, I'm a CTO. And I think you hit the nail on the head. It's not linear. I think I wouldn't recommend someone. Yes, it's nice to have an end goal.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have this is my Mount Everest or whatever.
Yeah.
But don't just try and follow that path. Just do what interests you.
Yeah.
Follow what the technologies, the companies, follow the people you like working with.
Please.
And then yes, always be challenging yourself to learn more in tech, which is why tech's so cool, because there's never a desire to not learn. Whereas some jobs you go into it and you're there. Whereas tech, like wherever you're at, you're going to be wanting to learn new things. So.
Yeah. What I would say is know your obsession.
Yeah.
So I'm obsessed with data. I get into the detail. Data people always do. We get into the detail and go, what about this condition? What about that eventuality? What about this? What about... And we're always what about in. And it's very honest and very clear that we're trying to do what we're doing for the benefit of the organisation. Very loyal in that sense. But know what you're obsessed with, because some people are very obsessed with analytics, presenting the analytics, showing the insights. Some are obsessed with the programming and the data and the data engineering. Some are obsessed with how they can do security. Just know what you're obsessed with and actually pull a thread and see where it goes. I mean, I was never expecting this journey to happen for me, although it was quite frustrating not to be able to kind of combine the two professions together until now. But it's definitely about what you're obsessed with.
Amazing. So how long have you been in Manchester then?
Oh, I'm a Manc, born and bred.
Nice.
I was born in Oldham, raised in Oldham.
Yeah.
So grew up in Limeside.
Yeah.
Amazing place, very predominantly white. So being Indian in the 80s in Limeside was quite interesting. It was school of hard knocks, to be fair, but loved it. Absolutely loved it. We all grew up really lively, going to the park and all sorts of things. From Manchester, my earliest memories, Dad had a car spare shop.
Oh, nice. What, in Oldham?
In Oldham, yeah. And it's really funny because even as a kid, and parents talk about it, I always wanted to be uber helpful. So I picked up a brick and dropped it on my brother's head. And they were like, yeah, you were really helpful, thanks for that. But I always chased my dad around because he'd go to the cash and carry. Now, cash and carry was behind Old Trafford.
Okay.
Ball ground.
Yeah.
And so every week, I'd be like, Dad, where you going? And he'd go, cash and carry. I'm coming with you. So now there's going to be a huge trolley riding around the cash and carry for the car spare shop. And just driving around past Old Trafford and seeing, it was usually down Oldham Road, which changed because the new postal depot popped up in the late 90s. And going down Great Ancoats, which was like pseudo derelict. The greatest thing about Great Ancoats was probably the press.
Yeah. Now there's flats now.
Yeah, and it was thriving. You had fleets of vans coming out of there as we drove past, headed down the Mancunian Way and off to Old Trafford, past White Hart.
Yep.
White City, I think it was called. White City, where the dogs race.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and down that road towards Old Trafford. Didn't think much of it as a kid growing up, but especially when it was football day, when they were really playing, and Dad was just stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of that was pretty much flat. Around the old mills and factories, they were quite derelict. So in 2010, around about that time, for a good 3-4 years, I ran the Great Manchester Run.
Nice.
And as I was going past those old stomping grounds, I was like, okay, the stadium's going to be big.
Yeah.
And then And then around the stadium, it was all built up with the hotels and everything. And it was quite interesting to see how Salford had actually been built up.
Yeah.
The media city, it just popped up.
It's, as I said to you at the start, I'm obsessed with like the growth,
Yeah.
the growth of Manchester. If I watch things, read things, looked at things, it's just, it's amazing. So I used to come to Manchester quite a bit when I was younger. My uncle lived up here, and
Yeah.
used to come and watch Man United as a kid, go for my dad. But like, what has it been like for you being from Greater Manchester, being from Manchester, and like seeing the city grow, and obviously with all those great memories of what it's like? Because for me, it felt, because I used to come up maybe once every few months, it felt like it all felt like it was very sudden. Whereas obviously, if you've been part of it, did it feel like that to you, or?
The city, I mean, it's grown and it's not grown, to be fair, because when you look at the city centre, it's pretty much in this 4 square mile radius.
Yeah.
What you did have was old buildings that were not being used and now being revived for something useful. And then you had flatland. Spinningfield was not there.
Yeah.
You had Deansgate, a long walk past the court, and then you had Salford Crescent train station. And the River Irwell had some interesting things in it, to be fair. Credit to the whole city. They've cleaned up the canals, they've cleaned up
Still not.
the rivers.
It's still. I live down by there, and I go for a run sometimes down by, and it's still not the cleanest. But I don't know what it was like before.
I still kind of appreciate what it is now compared to what it was. Because there were some things that were a dumping ground. But the city as a commercial unit, it was very much cotton mills.
Yeah.
And the mills and factories and stuff. And it's gone from that to a commercial city. So we've got, in Spinningfields, we have the law firms, we have the accountants, we have the banks. And genuinely, Spinningfields was just flat.
Yeah.
And to see it now, it's incredible.
And what's it like as someone from Manchester, born and bred, where like,
Yeah.
and being part of the tech community in Manchester, sort of grown up, we've seen it become, to a degree, a bit of a powerhouse.
Still proud.
It's amazing for like, this. I feel the city I live in, obviously the city you're from.
Yeah.
It's like having to read an article saying it's going to be the global AI hub of the world, or it's the fastest growing tech place, it's the best place. All of these articles are just, and it's Manchester, like our city, your city.
Yeah, isn't it labelled as the fastest growing digital city in Europe or something? Yeah.
And that's competing with places like Munich, Berlin. There's places obviously Scandinavia, like Portugal, and I've got a bit of these people who are serious people in the serious place, the tech place, who want to be good. Manchester's thriving. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Manchester's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's got a rapid growth, and it has grown very, very rapidly. Whereas London, it's been plodding along over the years, and it's had an expanse. Birmingham and say, grows slowly. I think Manchester's kind of earned its title by this rapid growth.
Yeah.
And it's a case of where can Manchester take it. So, going back to the university, the birthplace of the computer, the Alan Turing Institute, very much established there. Graphene being established. We now have an MMU, Houghton Institution. The investment in Manchester in terms of technology is phenomenal.
Yeah. So I was going to ask, what do you feel makes them, you touched on a couple of points there, but what makes the Manchester tech scene special?
I think it's the communities.
Yeah.
So things like Innovate UK really kind of establishing itself into the community and taking the community on along with the journey, to be fair. And a lot of it has come from Andy Burnham being proactive in this space, but I think it's a lot to do with various communities being proactive. Even Charles Dunstan has community initiatives where they help the elderly understand technology. And when we was working in Talk, we used to go off to these IT and biscuit sessions and help people with how to use their phone, how to use their iPad, how to filter out terrible emails that they shouldn't be seeing. And that at one end of the spectrum compared to AI and data science being constantly, open seminars, open webinars in the digital futures community with the universities. But what I do love is because we've got so many universities in Manchester, their engagement in the communities is huge.
I think you touched on communities and like people. Like
Yeah.
I've never been anywhere that's so collaborative across so many different areas. Obviously, you come to the data leaders breakfast roundtables that herself and Adam put on, and everyone's so weird to help other people and
Yep.
share ideas. Whereas that might not be the case. I can't speak for other places, only being sort of the South and Manchester, but it feels like everyone's so excited to be in Manchester.
Yeah.
And yes, you want your individual business and personal side of things to do well, but part of it is wanting Manchester to rise up, and that's why everyone's sort of in it together.
Oh, it really is. I mean, I spent a stint working with the Business Growth Hub, and they created a huge business-to-business community and a connectivity with the Growth Hub. They worked alongside Midas, which helped businesses establish themselves in the Manchester region. They also worked with the Chamber of Commerce. So all these different Quango organizations started to connect together, which was very unique. Even 10 years ago, it was very unique for Manchester. But now what we have is organizations like yourselves creating these, let's get industry together, let's get people together, share ideas, share tricks, share tips. And they're always popping up everywhere. Amy Newton, who runs the Manchester Tech Fest, is constantly bringing people together, people as a businesses together. And what I do love is the fact that there's no like, oh, come to us and only us. It's like, come to everyone.
Yeah.
And that's what's made that community a lot stronger.
Yeah.
I love Amy because the first conference I went to, she said, we've got so many clever tech people in this city. How about we put our heads together and solve some of the city's problems?
Yeah.
And that's quite a huge driver, especially across Manchester.
No, it's as you said, it's amazing that there's so many passionate people about Manchester, about the tech community, and obviously you've seen it grow from over the last 25 years within the tech space, and how it's progressed. Where do you see it currently heading if you're a crystal ball?
Oh, crystal ball. I mean, personal passion of mine, I want Manchester region to be pioneering in new fuels, new technologies supported by graphene, definitely. AI and machine learning is probably taking a new trajectory, but then it's also being that voice of governance as well across these industries. So it's great to take new technologies and new innovations really, really far forward and accelerating innovations forward. And bear in mind, I spent a lot of time with science and engineering departments in universities. So there are so many more innovations to come. But the same way we have patents and we have some of the groundings inside organizations right now that gives them that commercial advantage. Where is the next commercial advantage going to be in innovation? And how do we mold that forward? So I think Manchester's kind of at that point where we have enough people who challenge what should the regulations be around AI? What should the governance be? What should the legal framework be around AI? But then let's translate that into the other innovation areas like graphene.
Yeah.
You know, what kind of products can we put out there? What's the safety implications around those products? But what I'm really, really passionate about is the hydrogen side of the world.
Yeah.
I genuinely joked with people, but it has been a passion where I want the Northwest to be refuelable by hydrogen. I just want to start with the North. No, I'm not very big. Just want to start with the Northwest. But in all honesty, I mean, hydrogen is probably going to be one of those elements of fuel and energy generation, which allows countries to start creating that independence, not needing to rely on global fuel supplies. And I think Manchester's kind of there on the edge of that.
Yeah. And I think Manchester has got its own very unique personality. It's not just in tech, but across all industry. And it's personally, I feel it's a thought leader within the space as opposed to like, they're doing this, let's pick up data. Maybe, again, I can't speak because I wasn't here, but maybe years ago it might be what are London doing, let's do that. But now it seems to be a little bit the other way around in terms of like people look at Manchester to what are they doing and then we're following. I think that's from years of amazing people like yourself and other people champion Manchester and bringing it up to get it to where it is now. I mean, I've only been here a year and a half, maybe 2 years now, and I feel like I haven't missed the boat. I feel like it's now an opportunity to be part of something really, really special.
I have a question for you. Do you
Yep.
feel like you're adopted by Manchester now?
A little bit.
Oh, hesitant.
Not when I do my Manchester accent, but I feel like I'm distanced further away. No, but I love it. I've got so many good friends. Obviously, the office is amazing. It's just, again, I love that Manchester's got its own unique personality and it doesn't conform to anyone. But when you go to Manchester, it's very accepted, and you sort of, people who've been here a while sort of maybe become a little bit of a Mancunian, like even if it's just a little, like 10% or something, you don't go there. Whereas other places is a smelting pot of different cultures, where Manchester is and always will be Manchester, but it welcomes new people in as opposed to try and push them out, which has made it such a great city.
Yeah, we have to keep that Manc accent though.
I shouldn't do it, Mickey. But I think so I could literally sit here and talk to you all day. Maybe,
You can.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I think my last question is,
Yeah.
I think you probably touched on it. So what excites you sort of for the future of Manchester, and what's your sort of tech prediction for the next year? So two questions.
Good question. Okay, tech prediction for the next year. I'll come back to that one.
Yeah.
What excites me? Innovation's always excited me.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Be it in data, technology, data science, bringing some of the old industries forward into a more technological space will be interesting.
Yeah.
But bear in mind, I was grease monkey with my dad. Elbow deep in the engine of a car by the age of 6.
Yeah.
You can't change that. But I love how the technology is actually affecting multiple industries, though. Even things like graphene in concrete, things like piezovoltaic materials in vehicles. We're finding new ways of generating energy. We're finding new ways of being innovative with food and food banks. There's an organisation based in Manchester who've done some really clever stuff with AI to help optimise food across food banks, and how they can make sure before the food is wasted, it's gone to the right food bank and it's meeting the right sort of shortages. Clever things like that, because Manchester does want to be a digital city. And it's how do we optimise this digital city in its greatest state? I mean, don't get me wrong. Transport-wise, we're way behind London.
Where at Bristol, there. Well, my friends came up there a week ago. They blew their mind about the tram.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's exciting. Says she, who has to wait half an hour for a train when she misses it. We've got a long way to go, but it's accelerating really fast.
Yeah.
And this is what's got exciting about where I think it's going to go. I think Manchester will reshape its commercial identity. And I think that's because Manchester recognises the fact that it has to be flexible and fluid in the way organisations operate in this space. So commerce in Manchester will really start reshaping itself to be more customer orientated, to be more flexible and fluid around where we need to be in the future. I think AI is really changing the game. Agentic AI is helping that journey, but I still frown when people say, "Oh yeah, we're going to deploy agentic AI," when yeah, still the same pattern.
Yeah.
And I get horror images of you watching more and more crime dramas.
Yeah, well, I'd be fair. I learned. I was aware, and I learned that myself. But yeah.
I love how Manchester does reach out and help its community, and it's got multiple identities. So where it's got Northern Quarter with one identity, and then the student zones with another, and then you've got Springfield to its commercial identity, and other corners kind of building up.
And it's all reasonably well connected, whereas it feels like London's a little bit all pocketed off, whereas Manchester, you can go to Spinningfields and Northern Quarter and Deansgate all in one afternoon. Do you know what I mean? Whereas you don't have to sort of like choose, this is the district I walk over, this is the district I walk over.
Yeah, you just hop on a bus, don't you?
Yeah. All right, brilliant. Well, thank you very much. Like, as I said, I love the conversation. I'd love to hear about your journey entering the tech, and I think it'll be really beneficial and inspiring for a lot of people who listen. Well, ideally a lot of people. Lots of people who they choose to listen. So yeah, thank you.
I actually do, actually. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you
It's been
very
a
much.
pleasure.
Cheers.